Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Penalty Loop Podcast, a podcast about biathlon by Jordan Gottschalk from Penalty Loop and a regular guest, RJ Weiss from Biathlon Analytics.
Hey, RJ, how you doing, man?
I'm doing very good. How are you?
Doing okay. Surviving
Any snow in Florida yet?
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I was going to say. Still surviving the outrageous summer heat. I think it's 37 here today. So,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, not getting the winter vibes at all here. Unlike some of the athletes that were in training camp in Switzerland last week, it looks like they had a nice little snow flurry.
Yeah, we're in that phase in Calgary where nobody wants to talk about the S word anymore, and that stands for snow. Just to be clear.
Yeah, not the summer one.
People are starting to get nervous. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, speaking of training camps, we're lucky enough to be joined by another athlete who's at training camp right now. Justus Strelow is joining us from the German team camp in the French Alps. So thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it, man.
Hi, nice to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, welcome on the podcast. And I know because I listened to the Extra Runde, and I think you've been on there 4 times already. Is that right?
3 or 4 times, yes.
Yeah, so you're like a super experienced podcast.
Not in English.
Guest. Oh, well, that's true. Yeah, well, I'm sure you do very well with that too. But because I know you also write an article, I think, for the Sächsische Zeitung or something like that, like your local newspaper. Is that correct?
Yes, my management does it, but I give the input. So we call every week, or we do it during the winter. We have a telephone call, and then he's writing down what I'm telling him, and then there's like a small article where I can put things right or give the readers another perspective, and also have some background information. Yeah, it's always nice to tell some stories.
Yeah, it's funny because so I was going through where you're from, and I actually realized a while back I looked up my family history, and the parents of my grandfather actually moved to Holland from Freiberg, which I think is
really
20 minutes away from where you were born, or
20 to 30 minutes. I'm very familiar with the city. My sister studied there.
Okay.
So I know it very well.
And for probably 99.5% of the people that have no idea what area we're talking, so this is what you say, the eastern, about halfway of Germany, the east side, but then it's close to Prague, right? You're closer to
Prague is about 1 hour drive by car, so it's really the east side of Germany. So
okay. So one thing I was curious about, so you were born in 96, and the former state of East Germany stopped existing in 1990. Is that something that still did you still get some of that when you were growing up? Like, was that still something that people talked about, or was it kind of a closed book, or?
It's still a big thing in Germany because there's still differences between the parts of Germany which were under the Soviet government until 1990, and the old we call it like old Germany, and but that's more a thing of our parents generation. We know it. There are some jokes or something like this, but to be honest, we didn't feel it, or there's no differences really much. It's a little bit different about the money you earn for certain jobs or something like this. So there are some differences, but I think that's always in countries. You have different regions with different wealth and different incomes. So it's a little bit a thing, but in daily life you don't recognize it if you cross the border from old to new Germany or where this border was. So
Right. Do you have a nickname for West Germans?
Vesi.
Vesi?
We are the Aussies.
Aussie? Oh, yeah, okay.
Is there
That's funny.
like an intra-team rivalry from the athletes who are from the former East Germany versus former West Germany, or is it just nobody even thinks about that anymore?
The athletes themselves, not so much, but especially in East Germany, the fans prefer Eastern athletes or prefer the athletes from the East. So it's more a thing of the fans or the people that they like if they are one of them is in the team.
Sure. Yep, I got
there
it.
is kind of a thing, but not in the team between us athletes. There is no rivalry.
Because Oberhof used to be East Germany still? Or is it kind of on the... Yeah, okay.
No, it's still East.
Okay.
It's closer to the border, or the former border, but it's still East, yeah.
And is there also a bit of a regional rivalry in the team, like the people from Bayern, for example?
Not between us athletes. It's a little bit. It's more a thing in the national competitions. There it is for sure. When you are younger, there it's a big thing because then you are for your own region. But as soon as you are in the national team, there's no difference.
Because the races at the younger level in Germany are all region based, like the basically the club that you're skiing, that's what you represent.
Yeah.
Speaking of younger, I was looking on the just the basic info on Biathlon World, and it says that you started biathlon in 2003. So you were 7?
6 actually.
6? Wow, that is just such a. So here in the States, right? It's a struggle to get people to even know what biathlon is sometimes. So it is just such a foreign concept to think about kids like at 6 years old, like participating in biathlon. So what's it like? How do you get into it?
Well, my mother was, or it was very important to her that I do some kind of sport. And since I'm from a very small village where there were not enough kids for a soccer team, the soccer training was really bad, and I didn't like soccer that much. So one of her friends knew a coach who was training the little kids in this team, and it's not biathlon exactly in the beginning. It's more like having just to do some sport once a week, like being in the gym or running in the forest or doing fun stuff. And in winter time, you get to know cross-country skiing, so they teach this to you. And the first time we have, like a small air rifle was with 8 or 9 years. So
that was going to be my next question.
Biathlon, that's when biathlon started. But then it was really catching me because, there were not many, friends in my boys or girls in my age who were able to shoot on a not daily but weekly basis. So that was for sure something special, and I really liked it, and I was good in shooting. So I kept doing biathlon and quit soccer when I was 11 or 12, and then fully focused on biathlon.
So was it pretty obvious right away that you had a talent for shooting? Like, were you doing much better than?
Not much better, but I was doing good, and I had a lot of fun in shooting. But I was really bad in everything else. I was quite decent at running, but I was always smaller than the other boys, so I wasn't exactly developing really early. I was always a little bit behind. So until 15, I would say, I also had my problems, especially when it comes to strength and athletics overall. I was not really good. So I struggled, but I was good in skiing because I learned it very early. My parents put me on skis when I was 2 years old and put me down a little hill. So that was some advantage for me, I guess.
Yeah. And is that a sport that a lot of kids from that area would get into? Like, is it pretty common?
Yeah, skiing is pretty common, or was then it's probably a matter of snow, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
every little village has their own like ski tracks, and also a lot of them have a small lifts where you can do
Okay.
alpine skiing. So it's always the problem with the snow, but it was better
Right.
when I was young. Now it's more complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah, but skiing and in general winter sports for sure is a thing in this region. It's also like a small and hilly. It's not really a mountain range. Yeah, or it is a mountain range, but a really old one, and so it's not that
Mm-hmm.
high. So yeah.
The mountain range, is that the Harz or Herz range, or is that a
No,
different?
the heart is actually northwest of
Okay.
Oberhof, which would be the Thuringian forest. And uh, where I'm from, that's the Erzgebirge. You would translate it as the ore mountains, like iron ore,
Yep.
or like ore mountain.
Sure.
Yeah, that's because it was a silver mining area back in 1400, so before the United States existed. Yeah, a lot
Well
of
before.
silver. A lot of silver was found there, and yeah, that was when this region, was populated.
When you were just starting to shoot 8, 9, 10 years old and you're in a competition, what does the shooting look like? Is it the same distance? I would imagine not. I would imagine it's a shorter distance.
No.
Yeah?
It's 10 meters. It's 10 meters.
Got it.
And the targets are way smaller, and until age of 12, you only shoot prone. And then with turning 13, you start standing. And then you switch to the biathlon rifle, as you know from the World Cup. We switched with 15 years old.
So how old were you when you had your first biathlon rifle?
To be honest, I don't even own my rifle now. It's just something I rent from the army. So it's not exactly mine, or I didn't order it.
Sure.
I just have the permission from the army to use it. The only thing I own is the stock. And my first stock I got with 18, something like this. So the first minor adjustments were made with 16, 17, of course, when you start doing the real shooting. But my first completely own biathlon stock was with 18 years old, I think, in the junior. So.
And so, do you know nowadays if kids want to get into biathlon, are there, like when they get into the age group that they can start shooting actual biathlon rifles, is there an option to borrow them from the club? Or because I find here in Canada often it's such a barrier to have to buy your own rifle because they're so expensive. Is that a problem in Germany, or?
No, that's the way it works in the region where I'm from. It's different from club to club. So every ski club has its own solution. But where I'm from, it's the case that your parents pay like a monthly rate to your club, and then that's also a connection of more clubs in this region. And then with this collected money, they buy skis, roller skis, poles. They pay the training camps and also the coaches. And if you go to the competitions, they pay where you sleep and all the food and stuff, and also the rifles, so and ammunition. So it's not your own. You get it from them, but because when you're young, you're growing fast, so you need new skis every year and all the stuff. So it's not your own stuff. You get it from the club and give it back after one season. And your parents, or the parents pay a monthly rate, or
Okay.
and I think it was about 300 euros.
Okay. So
and
it's still not cheap, but it's a lot easier to manage.
And then depending on how many sponsors the
Right.
club have or the region has, then and the better you are, the more the sponsors give. So there was like
Hmm.
if you are in the team or have a certain level, you get more, and your parents have to pay less. And if you are not that good, your parents have to pay more. And that's the system where I grew up, or yeah.
Okay.
So,
And
but
then your
the rifle,
go ahead.
the rifle never was my own. So I never
Right.
owned it myself. I never bought a biathlon rifle.
But I'm assuming if somebody in the army is like, I want to start shooting some 22, I'm going to take Justus's rifle. That's not going to happen, I'm assuming.
No, it's my own. So that's
Yeah.
that's also we have our own like Sandro Prieslinger. I don't know if his name is known in your region, but a lot of athletes have his stocks, and he's the one in the army in Oberhof, and he has all the overview, and
So he designed your stock for you?
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Is it still wood, or is it also with carbon and other materials?
My first stock was a Bachmann stock from Antwerp, which is completely carbon. Now, but the Prisi or the shaft from Sandro Prieslinger is completely out of wood. It's Turkish walnut or something like this. So
okay,
that's fancy.
Yeah, not the first wood you would think of when you're shooting in the cold weather.
It has the best weight to stiffness ratio in wood, so that's what we're focusing on.
Yeah, of course, sounds great. So you mentioned, obviously the military owns the rifle, and so clearly you're in the military, you're in the army. How does that work? And I mean, just from like the most basic answer, like when you know that you're heading towards a career in biathlon, how do you go about like being a part of the military and being in biathlon?
Well, it was easy for me. I was in school, and as long as I was in school, my parents said it's no problem. We can afford that you do biathlon, and we will support you. But as soon as you're finished with school, you have to do it on your own or study. And so that was the case when I made my finished high school. I would say you can compare that. Then I had the level where you can ask the army or have
apply for the
applying. Thank you.
Okay.
Where you can apply for military or police. You also can go to the police or customs. But I decided for army because it was with Oberhof. There's an army base, and for me it was clear to change to Oberhof if I continue biathlon, because I had no training group in Altenberg, where I came from.
Right.
And I applied for the army, and then it's the case you are completely free of service, and you can do training all the time. You're completely supported, and you have to do 4 to 6 weeks, training camps for the army, or educational camps where you're in an army base and get to know the army a little bit. It's really compact. It's more law lessons. So what you can do and have to do as a soldier, and so you know at least a little bit how to be a soldier, but you're not really educated. So my level in military on the career level is way higher than my actual experiences. So after biathlon, there's no chance I stay in this level at the army, because I just don't know what to do in the army at this level. So it's just the way how Germany pays their athletes.
Sure.
And it's a little bit different in police. There you get like a full education and are a real police officer after 5 years or 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
But there you have to do more education or more school in summer for the first 4 years. And since I don't want to be a police officer after my career, I decided for military.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a great way to support athletes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course, it really is, and it really helps because you have a monthly income and are safe.
Yeah.
You're not getting rich, but you're just safe and can have a normal life like anybody else. The only thing is, it's only for 1 year all the time. So every year you get your new. Yeah, they tell you every year if you can continue. So in the first 3, 4, 5 years, it's a struggle to stay in the level, to keep the level, to get the status. But now it's not a problem anymore. No,
and that's just based on results, race results.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
You get one season if you are injured or something like this, something like this, then you're not directly out. You get another chance. But if it's the second season without any results, then you're probably.
Would you say most athletes on the national team as well, like on the IBU Cup and World Cup, are all in a situation like this with Army or police or customs, or most of them?
Yeah, if they are not in school, they are. Yeah.
Okay. And so you're also in school studying renewable energy, is that right?
Yeah, I do. It was my plan B if I get kicked out military after the first 2 or 3 years, and now I still have to do it. I will finish it somehow, but it's not really the plan I stick to. But I will finish. I put in too much effort to quit now, but I'm not planning to do anything like this.
Sure.
So what made you decide to go for that specific topic?
I'm interested in engineering, and I decided it needs too much practical studies if you go in a real engineering topic. So I had to put the economic part a little bit higher so I can manage it. But yeah, it was an interesting topic, and it was also a topic where I was sure I will get a job later. So that were the two main reasons I chose this direction.
It's a bit of a good bridge to Jordan and I have talked before about, kind of the future of biathlon and the impact of the environment. Well, are you worried that it's going to impact your career, that you're going to have to, at some point struggle with having enough snow and that kind of thing, or?
Well, I think we already do kind of struggle because last season we had the first semester was decent winter time, but since New Year it was wet and warm all the time. And so we already face this problem, but I don't think it will affect my career in this way that biathlon will change dramatically as long as I will compete. So I think for the next 5 to 8 years, there won't be major changes. Maybe the summer biathlon will be a little bit more focused on like the summer world championship and like City Biathlon in Dresden and the Mattress Festival and Fling Festival, something like this will get maybe a little bit more important. But I don't think the winter will change dramatically. The winter season, so I think they will stay almost the same.
And if the summer biathlon would get bigger and bigger, do you think winter athletes, so to speak, would join that as well, or is it just too busy with training to really seriously focus on summer biathlon as a separate competition?
That's hard to tell. I think there will be I think in different sports, it is already the case. They have a season all year. If you think of soccer or
Mm-hmm.
also football, and all the team sports are happening all the year. They have a short break of 1 month, something like this, and then they start again. But I think then athletes will have more kind of focus. So some will focus on more highlights, or there are some highlights you really focus on, maybe winter
Mm-hmm.
or the World Championship or something like this.
Right.
I don't think there will be specialists who only compete in winter or only compete in summer.
Okay.
Well, then the other part, with summer biathlon is something you experienced at the German national championships. It can get pretty darn hot, right? And I think they had the same problem at the Forcade Festival. They were like spraying people down. So I mean, that's the problem too.
Yeah.
Is that there has to be an upper limit to the temperature, where you can't really compete at such a high level because it's just too dang hot.
That's for sure a problem, but I think more problem is that we athletes are not used to it, because when I think of road cycling, they do like heat
Sure.
training, or that's a real big thing. So that's just something we don't focus on, or we're just too comfortable to face heat. But
Right.
if there are competitions
Yeah,
in summer,
yeah.
we have to adapt to this, and then we
Sure.
also have to train in hot conditions.
Mm-hmm. Or you could do what they did at the Czech championships, where they had the night race.
That would be a possibility too, of course.
Yeah. That looked like a wild time. Would you be interested in competing or in an event like that, where they had the flares and everything? It seemed like a crazy time.
Well, if there's a lot of spectators and there's a good like atmosphere, it will be fun for sure. So it's still biathlon, and biathlon is what I do and what I love. So why not?
I'm going to sort of take us in a bit of a different direction here. A little bit ago, you mentioned that when you were first starting for the military, you have to be showing a certain level of results to make sure that you're, re-upped for the next year. You've had a really, steady progress. It's like every year you're hitting a new level. I guess going all the way back to the very beginning, like when you were first deciding you were going to be, this is the career path you wanted to follow. Did you have any sense of how far you could go, like how high you could reach? I mean, I know a lot of kids, you think I could be, we talked to Regina Ermitz last week, and she talked about, as a kid, she's like, I'll be an Olympian, right? And then as you get into it, there's sort of a reality of like, oh, wow, like there are a lot of really good athletes out there. So being in Germany, I would assume younger competition, you're competing against a pretty high level of youth athlete. Like, did you know how far you could go when you were just like 15, 16, 17?
For sure not, because my parents always told me and tried to prevent this hard hit of reality and really early. So it was always like, I know that only one or maybe two guys of my age will make it to the national team. And since I wasn't a really, as I mentioned, early developer, I was small and wasn't really strong or so. I never really thought that I could make it. So it was the first big step, or the first big realization that I could be a good biathlete, was when I was at the Youth World Championship in Minsk, 2014 or 15. It was my first really international race, and I was sixth in the individual race. And that was the first time after race I really remember in cool down skiing. I was on my own. I was thinking, well, maybe I could make it somehow in biathlon, but also then in the next years in IDU Cup, and first in juniors and then IDU Cup, I never imagined that I could get to the top 15 of the world. So especially with last season, I for sure exceeded my expectations, what I could make in biathlon or what I can reach in biathlon.
Mm-hmm. I see you're gonna have to set new high expectations.
Yeah, but that's something that happens really, really fast when you have 3 or 4 good races. Then your expectations really adapting really fast.
yeah, absolutely. Sorry, RJ, I interrupted you.
No, I was going to ask, do you remember some of the athletes that were in front of you when you got sixth in that individual race?
Yeah, Kirill Streltsov, because he has almost the same name like me. He was a Russian guy. I battled for quite some time in also an IBU Cup. But the other names I don't really remember now. I'm not sure, but for sure there are some names I'm facing right now too.
Right. Yeah, I was curious about that. If there's still people that you still face even from that time.
I looked it up, and the 5 men who finished in front of you, none of them are on the World Cup.
None of them.
Yeah, a little bit below you was Felix Leitner, and that was, I think he's the only one. Yeah, he was there as well.
Yeah, Felix was no chance passing Felix in the juniors. He was dominating the competition. I was nowhere close to them.
Yeah, so he
really was one.
Yeah, well, you beat him out in that race, and then I think he got you in the next 2.
Yeah, in all the races.
Yeah.
Afterwards, probably. The same with
you dislike him, but
No.
Yeah.
Also the same with I have his name. Sean.
Yeah, Doherty. Sean Doherty.
Doherty. Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Sean Doherty. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I was gonna say, then it looks like Joshua Burkhalter was in the sprint race with you there as well. So anyway, that took us down a little bit of a rabbit hole there. So another thing I noticed is going back through, all of your career and looking back through your stats. You mentioned at the beginning that when you were first getting started, that like you had a connection with shooting, and like you've always been one of the better shooters at every level, right? So juniors, IBU Cup, and then of course World Cup last year, you were the best shooter of all the men. So where did that come from? How do you keep getting better? Like, what is the next thing you work on?
I think that's my talent a little bit. Others are talented in being fast or having big lung or great heart or something like this. I just have the talent of shooting. But the first thing that clicked when I joined the World Cup was the prone shooting. That happened, must be now 2 seasons ago.
Yep.
That somehow clicked, and I was able to keep it that way. And then I could completely focus on speed, especially to the first shot.
Yeah.
And that's something that worked out really, really great in the last 2 years. And the next thing was standing. And there, last season, I'm not as fast or as stable like other guys in standing. I think standing is way harder than prone, but I managed to keep the focus during the shooting better. So if there's a shooting where I feel I'm very stable, then I feel it and can go really fast. But if there's a shooting which is not so stable, then I also have to focus to fight for the shot and then get a high hit rate, although it's not the best feeling maybe. And that's something that that worked out really well last year, but that's really much it's really about focus. And I think this is something that also has to do with my private background, that I really got a feeling that I have settled now with my now wife, and that I'm on an emotional level. I'm really stable and happy, and I think that was the reason why I could focus so much on shooting last season,
Yeah.
And I hope I can, do it again, but it will be a really tough task because, prone is okay. I have a good system and I feel really comfortable with it, but standing still is a matter of focus, and I hope I can keep this high level of focus also in the next season.
It's funny that you say prone is okay with shooting well over 90% and doing it in the fastest time on the World Cup.
Yeah, it's okay.
That's okay.
It's okay.
It's almost not finished, but it's I'm happy with it.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
Well,
and what I find so impressive is that I looked at your stats, and you've skied faster and shot faster even, and still your rate is really high, because we've seen many athletes that were really good shots, and they're still really good shots, but then when they started shooting faster, and I think Vanessa Vogt is an example, then that seemed to have a bit of an impact on the hit rate. I find it so impressive that you kept the hit rate and even improved on that while also shooting faster and skiing faster. So that's if you keep doing what you're doing, it's going to be scary to race against you.
I hope I didn't reach my maximum, but as I said, I exceeded my expectations. So it could be it was the maximum last season. I don't know. I hope it was not. And I'm training and feel great, so I think I can do better. But it's not easy from this partner or from this position.
Even if it's
better.
Your maximum, I think if it stays like this for the next 5 years, I think you'll be pretty happy.
I would be really happy with it. Of course.
Yeah.
Were you aware of your prone shooting streak at the end of 2 seasons ago, and then continuing into this season?
I was aware of my streak at the end 2 seasons ago, yes, but I didn't keep track of it for the last season.
Okay, yeah. So according to my stats, you had another 30 prone hits in a row, so you came to 134 prone hits without a single miss, and that just in the individual races, which is just blows my mind. But I had a
pretty crazy.
I just broke my record last Monday because I shoot in Camor Monday nights, and I shot 9 out of 10, and then the very last shot was a miss. So I had a streak of 9, which is probably I'll never reach that again. But
no, RJ, you'll get there.
134 is just
it's
incredible.
Crazy.
Do you remember the miss? This like, were you aware that you almost finally had a miss in prone?
No, I only from last season I only remember the miss from the single mixed relay in Antwerp.
Right.
This miss I remember, but the other misses not really.
Was it a preventable miss? Is that like, were you upset with yourself because you didn't stick with your process, or?
I know standing one miss can always happen. It's really fast. It was not, of course, if I had a little bit, I could prevent it, but I just didn't. It's not a problem to miss one. Standing can happen anytime.
Yeah.
Not
I just have every now and then have these shots where even when I put pressure on the trigger, I already know it's going to miss, but you do it anyway.
Yeah, I prefer have, and it's really bad in training. There that's what I said about focus. That's the thing of focus, where you just have the feeling or the awareness to straighten the finger again and not to pull the trigger and say no, that would have been a miss. Do it better and then hit the target.
Oh, that's how it works.
So you said, so you said the miss in the single mixed relay in Antholz?
Yeah.
You remember that one? Why that one in particular?
Because it prevented the perfect race for both of us.
I was gonna say you guys still won, so I just didn't know what it was. But
it was just the perfect race, and it's hard to get this close again to such a perfect race. Also with the weather, the fans, all together. Hard to repeat.
Hey, I'll tell you what, it was pretty fantastic. So maybe this year.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
hopefully.
Going back to shooting speed for a second, you averaged 24.6 seconds, this past year, which is really fast. And if you go back like 10 years, like that kind of shooting speed would sort of be unimaginable. Is there a limit to how fast you think that you guys will be able to shoot? Like, because there has to be, right? There has to be unless somebody just gets up there and just pulls the trigger 5 times.
What I feel right now is, especially in low speed training, so with low intensity, I skip the breathing, especially in standing.
Mm-hmm.
I can do it in zone also. That's not a problem. But I think it's hard to get below. For me, when I really try hard, I get the first shot from maybe short below 10 seconds. So maybe 9, high 8. That would be the fastest I say I can hit with precision or something more than luck. So faster than that would be luck right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then it's a rhythm of maybe 1.5 seconds. So then you can calculate how fast you can get.
Yeah,
right.
And in standing you can be a little bit faster to the first shot.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, as I said, it's especially standing is harder because then there's a lot of movement on the rifle, on the weapon. I don't have this problem in thrown because there I'm really stable and just have to have good finger work on the to reload and then push the trigger without any mistake. But standing there's a lot of movement, and but I remember the challenges when they tried to hit under 10 seconds, but there were some videos some years ago of Bocard, I think, who did it first. But I don't think we will see this in competition because that's too much of luck and risk. It will happen sometimes, of course.
Yeah.
But that's not the regular basis. Because then
what athlete are you thinking of if you would see anybody on the World Cup shoot that fast? Is there anyone in particular who you're thinking of who could do it?
Without luck, hitting high hit ratios, or just trying and sometimes having luck,
or even just somebody who can actually pull it off, whether it was kind of luck or not. But
Jacques Long for sure is pulling it off sometimes, and he does it with also with 5 hits. Bö did it, or also again in Dresden. I was standing right next to him, and and I think Stalder also is really fast, and also Jacomel. I remember coming to the shooting range once in Antwerp with Jacomel, Stalder, and Jacques Lang, and was thinking, I only can lose here right now. There's no chance I go out with them again. Yeah. So.
Well, how did it come out?
Yeah, I missed one. I think one of the guys also missed one, and 2 went clean. So yeah.
Got it.
I lost the group.
Does would that even make you think you're almost going to take more time just to really focus on shooting clean, hoping that one of them will miss because they're shooting faster than you anyway? Or
in the end, I think it's better to clean all the targets in 24 seconds than to maybe hit all of them in 18, because then and that would be a quite big range. But I focus more on hitting than on shooting fast. There are situations where you feel you can be really fast, and sometimes you also need it, and then you have to try it.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it works out, but usually it's better to take a small step back. It's not the case that you then have to aim for 5 seconds or something. It's all the time about 2 or 3 seconds. That's
Right.
not that much, and it's
Right.
way less than a penalty loop.
Absolutely. They often say with standing and prone shooting that you're almost like need a different personality. Can you think of like an athlete or an actor that you would think of when you're in prone compared to when you're in standing?
I think standing is also the last shooting, and I think that's the real thing. If it would be the other way around, it would be better for me, I think, too, to shoot standing first and then prone. Because in standing there's so much more movement, and you still have to be so calm and cool in the head and just do your thing and don't panic or try to have to be fast now and so there it's good if you have this confidence. You have to really standing is more a matter of confidence, I think. Prone is more of being precise and just probably like a golf player doing the same all the time again, or like a dart player who has to throw the dart all the time, all the same way. That's more what you do in prone, I think.
Okay, that's cool.
You mentioned a little bit ago about how getting faster on the skis. We just saw you at the City Biathlon race in Dresden. Super rainy, and you chased down the fastest man on skis. That had to feel good. So does that give you some sort of like mental boost as you're going into this next training camp and into next season?
It did, until the press conference when he said how long he's already in training.
Yeah.
So
you weren't supposed to listen to that.
I think he's not in his competition shape right now, and I think if he would train as I don't know how much he's training. But rumor is he isn't training so much in the first half of the year or the first half of the summer. So I think if he really tries hard, then something happens like the season where he won 17 times. So and he realized he doesn't have to do it. He can win the World Cup with less training, like last year. I had the feeling last year he was getting fitter and better during the season, because then he was doing it on a regular basis, or it was the best training for him, and he just got better and better. So I'm really happy with my skiing, and for sure it was a nice feeling to catch anybody on the last loop. That's not something that happens really often for me, that I catch anybody on the last loop. So that was a great feeling for sure, but I don't think it has to say anything for the winter. So I still expect that he will be faster on the first individual in Congelati.
Sure. I in all seriousness though, I mean, like, that has to feel good. I know that he's not at his top training, but just to it was exciting to see, and they had to feel good to do it. So I want you to take good things away from it.
Yeah, it was a nice feeling, and it was the home crowd, and it's always a nice feeling to close the gap to the leader, and for sure it was great, and it would have felt great if it was anybody else.
Sure,
but if it's his name, it's a little bit more special and a little bit more people talk about. But
they just needed a little bit wider space in the finishing stretch there, because it seemed like it just got too pinched in for anybody to make a move. Yeah,
it was really, it was, as you said, it was super slippery also on the street. Only the part where I catched him, that was the only part I really could use my legs. And Uros, so my coach said I had too much respect. I should have just shouted him out of the way when I was coming with with much
full
more
speed
from behind, and trying to find a small space get past him. But if I would have done this and he didn't react, then we all three would have crashed in this situation. And it was the same in the stadium. I really tried hard, but I didn't want to fall down or hurt anybody. And then it was tough fighting till the line. But I think it was all fair with hard decisions, but it was still fair. And it was just not a good sprint to the line because it was not possible with the rain and the space. And that's it. It was a show race, and I think the spectators liked it, and that's what those kind of races are for.
As one of the spectators, I can say we definitely enjoyed it. That was a lot of fun.
Then I'm happy because that was my job there.
Yeah.
Well, you said home race, and that's not just Germany. That's like, how far is it from where you're from originally? Dresden is like...
from my club where I started biathlon, it's like 30 to 40 minutes, and from the house where my parents live, it's like 1 hour drive. So it's really, really close.
Nice. Yeah. So I have a question for you that maybe sounds harsh. But do you think right now you're too nice of a person to win a race?
Maybe I am, but I want to be fair. That's more important to me, and I think it's if you want to win, then you have to be so good. There's no question that you win. So and if there is a question, if it's that close, then maybe you just have not been good enough, because if you would have been a little bit better, then there wouldn't have been this question of you winning. If I would hit all 5 shots right away, we wouldn't talk about it. But I missed.
Right.
Also, I missed the first spare round. I just did the second spare round. So there have been some opportunities to do it better before.
That's true. Like, when you said, I want to be fair, my first thought was, I don't think shooting 134 hits in prone in a row is really fair for everybody else. But I know that's not what you meant.
Yeah.
What are you guys working on these last couple months before the season starts? What does your training regimen look like? And in particular, what kinds of workouts are you going to be doing?
Well, right now we're in an altitude camp, so it's to get used to the altitude and more low intensity training, because we have to adapt before we can do some medium or high intensity. And then we can get back. We will do what you do in biathlon: be fast and try to hit the targets with high intensity training. So we will use the ski tunnel in Oberhof, and then we will go on to Finland in the beginning of November. And that's pretty much it. So we will do some high intensity trainings with like short intervals, longer intervals, and just pushing us and hurt ourselves.
I know we're coming up towards your time limit. I've still got like about 18 questions, so I'm just gonna have to save some of these for another time. But RJ, did you have any more big questions?
I was really curious about your experience in like racing in North America, both Utah and in Canmore, and I know you also, I think, added 2 weeks of vacation to your Canmore experience. Just curious where you guys went and how you enjoyed that.
Well, Utah was horrible. It was hot. It was dry. It was slow snow. It was it's the most horrible experience I could get from a biathlon competition. But I survived. And but that's nothing you can blame Utah for. And I really loved Canmore. I think Canmore was beautiful. The town itself was beautiful, and also the landscape, of course. Utah was different. Utah was something we don't have here in Germany or in Western Europe that much. We have to go to the more to the Mediterranean areas like South Italy, and it's also the same like gradient. No, not gradient, but
elevate or
northeast.
latitude.
So exactly, and that's why it was special to see in this kind of environment, because in Europe there would be no snow. So that was kind of crazy. Yeah, and then Kenmore was just as we know, it reminded me of the Alps. And after Kenmore we went to Jasper, and then we did like the basic road trip. Jasper, Kelowna, Whistler, Vancouver, and stayed at each destination 3 days or 4 days. I think Whistler was 4 days. By the way, Whistler is ridiculously expensive. So out of anything I experienced, Whistler is just way above, and
it's really like it was already expensive, but since the 2010 Olympics, the prices shot up and it just never came down.
And so I never see so much Olympic venues in so short time. So I see it in the Olympic venue from Salt Lake City, then Canmore from Calgary,
86.
I think.
88.
And then of course in Whistler we also visited the stadium and I skied there. So I used all the free venues. That was definitely a record.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet.
You were, I don't know if you heard, but I think you were very lucky to be able to enjoy Jasper because a big part of it burned down this summer.
Oh no, I didn't.
Yeah, it was quite bad. I think 70% of the town burned down, and
crazy.
Yeah, so you're
why?
Forest fires. Yeah, forest fires out west have just been it's been terrible.
Okay.
So you're lucky. Well, of course you're lucky that you weren't there when it happened, but that you also had a chance to still experience it. So
it's another thing we don't have this much in Europe. Like forest fires are a small thing. They're starting now, but not as regular like it is in the States or in Canada.
Yeah, I think one part is that I think there's more forest that's very far away from any people, but it doesn't help that our government is not really spending the money to keep an eye on everything. But let's not get into that. But
RJ, any more biathlon questions, or I've got a couple fun ones before we go.
I can come up with 10 more, but let's.
I know. That's the
stop
problem.
The biathlon part here.
Yeah. So you mentioned your wife earlier. Something I always ask people: how did you meet your spouse? How did you meet your wife? Tinder, no kidding.
Okay.
That's amazing.
Kidding. Tinder.
Yeah, so
it's not romantic. No romance in this part of our relationship.
No. So after how many dates did you know that she was going to be the one?
That I will marry her. So we dated in the first. This was on the first date, and we got together like 3 weeks later. So we were a couple since then.
And then
was she from the same area?
Yeah. In dimensions of America, yes. In dimensions of Germany, it would be it was a distance relationship in the first half year, and then we were in the same region. Yeah.
Okay, so you guys got engaged in the Philippines?
Yeah.
Did she know you were gonna pop the question? Did she know you were gonna ask her on that vacation? No. So it was a total surprise for her.
It was, but we had a small discussion some vacations earlier because her friends were saying, he's probably proposed to you. This vacation is so romantic and so beautiful, and then it didn't happen. And then I asked her why she is so upset right now, because we had just a beautiful sunset, and she was kind of mad. And I didn't know why, and then I understand why. And then she didn't believe in it or didn't thought of it, and she couldn't imagine where bought the ring and so on, and how I planned it. So he didn't expect it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well done. It's a very romantic vacation, spot, and the pictures on Instagram are great. Funny story actually is that my now wife and I had the same argument, was that she knew I had bought the ring and we were on this vacation, and same thing. She thought I was going to propose to her, and she got very upset when I didn't. She's like, "Are you having doubts?" No, I just have another plan. And then last couple of questions here. I saw a post recently that from, I can't remember the name of the company. I apologize. You might want to shout them out, but a sponsor, about like bedding and sleep. And and so when you pick out your mattress, now that you're married, do you have to take your wife with you, or is this more about you and as an athlete making sure that you have the perfect mattress to be at your top form? Because I know sometimes when you're married, you guys might have different ideas about what the mattress should be like.
Well, I can tell you that he was there with me, and we have both our own mattress, so it's perfectly matched for each of us.
Perfect. Yes. And what was the name of the company?
Geborgen Schlafen. It's like what's Borgen in English? It's like safe, or like you would
cuddled up, kind of.
Yeah. That's fitting.
I love it.
So cuddled up, sleeping. Yeah. That'd be a good translation, probably.
And then last question I have for you: does she get to travel with you during the season, or is she working? She was doing her own thing, so you're kind of distanced for all that time.
She's working, but she has a job with really flexible timing or timing of work, and she also has a lot of vacation days. She can take 40 days of vacation per year, so she's traveling a lot with me, and also has, like, every semester in winter she's visiting me once.
Oh, okay, good.
Season, and also did last season, so it's quite regular. Quite often that she is also there at the competition.
That's fantastic. That's awesome.
And she's busy with maintaining your social media, right?
She is too.
Yeah. That's a lot of work. And I mean that seriously. You guys, every biathlete, you guys are keeping it up on the very regular basis. So that's awesome.
I don't like social media, but it's part of
she's doing it for you.
Yeah.
Mostly, yeah.
All right.
Really happy about it.
You've been so generous with your time.
I had one more question. Are you still riding a unicycle, or was it a once and never again?
A unicycle? Of course I do. Regularly.
Yeah.
How you come to this part? Yeah, I can do unicycling, and I have unicycling actually, so the mountain bike version. But I do have quite a big one and enjoy it, especially in springtime.
Okay. It's I know that you were your town put a party up for you, I think, where you had to do a unicycle race where you also had to shoot. Yeah. So I was curious if that's something that you did for the first time in your life, or if there was actually something that you...
No. I was fixed to unicycling by my uncle. And then, I just wanted to learn it really badly and manage it in like 1 week. And since then I can do it, and I really do it. Every once and here and there I do it. I was thinking to take it to the training camp, but decided then not to do it. But yeah.
Well, at least it's never as dangerous as roller skiing. So, anyway, thank you so much for your time. That was so much fun.
It's been fantastic.
And I know that English is not your first language, but it was. I really appreciate, because I know it's always a bit more effort, but it's fantastic. And
I hope my German accent wasn't speaking in too much.
No, it's totally good.
It's fantastic.
So we really appreciate that. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bye, man.
It was fun. Thank you for the invitation.
Bye.
But
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We would have you back anytime.
I would love to be back
All right.
again.
Okay, deal.
See you. Bye.
Okay, take care.
Bye.